inductees and past inductees of the Michigan Irish American Hall of Fame. According to MIT Technology Review, as of early 2019, more than 26 million people had taken an at-home ancestry test to learn of their heritage. Thankfully, I have not had to do this, as my mother made sure I knew where my roots were. As Aaron said, my mother was from Thurles, County Tipperary, and my father was from a little town in Kentucky called Moorhead, Kentucky, which is the sister city to Ballymena, County Antrim. My sister Kim and I grew up around the Irish community in Detroit, and being Irish is something that we grew up being very proud of. Mom was a very proud Tipperary woman, and Kim, being the big sister, set the bar very high for me as far as my Irish heritage and sharing it. Funny story, when I was about 7 years of age, our Northwest Detroit community had an Independence Day parade down the street. And all the kids had their bikes and wagons decorated in the red, white, and blue for the 4th of July, except for me. My bike was decorated in the green, white, and orange of the tricolor, and myself in my Irish dance kilt, tie, and jacket, pedaling my bike down Pembroke Street in Northwest Detroit on the 4th of July. My dad had a photo of my sister Kim's 3 children, and they were all decked out in their very best St. Patrick's Day attire. The buttons and badges that came from Ireland, the green clothes, etc. Somebody once asked my father, he said, "Are you Irish?" And he said no, but my wife was 100% Irish, and my daughter's 150% Irish. I had no choice but to try to keep up with her in sharing and promoting our Irish heritage. My heart is full of pride of my Irish heritage today, and I thank Kim. Thanks, Aaron, for getting me going here. I thank my sister Kim for setting the bar so high for me and being such a great role model. And to my wife Christine, Shanna, Brenna, and our daughter Kelsey, who's not here, for supporting me in doing what I love, and that's promoting our Irish heritage. So thank you all to the committee, the Michigan Irish American Chamber of Commerce, who allows me to be their executive director and do that job, to the Muskegon Irish American Society once again, and the Hall of Fame, Kevin Donovan, Judge Neil Mullally. Thank you all for this wonderful honor. They say if you're lucky enough to be Irish, you're lucky enough. Well, I'm a very, very lucky man. Thank you all very much. Enjoy this wonderful festival, and up tip.
I have to comment just very quickly. Phil O'Dwyer blindfolded and kidnapped me, and he hauled me over to his man's studio for one of his pros. And let me tell you that if you get a chance to find that studio and go there, it's not the music you want to go for, because it's wonderful. It's not the commentary, which is wonderful and so on. It's the libations and the food. It turned out to be a very, very happy visit.
Glad to have you.
At this time, I will call forward Phil O'Dwyer, who is a member of the Hall of Fame himself, and he will present our final, but certainly not our least important nominee. Thank you.
Gormila Mahagat Neil. It is a great honor for me to introduce Brother Jim Boynton. He was born and raised in St. Ignace on the northern side of the Straits of Mackinac. He grew up to value the perspective of his Irish Catholic heritage. At the age of 15, Jim was captivated by an old violin that he saw at an estate sale, and he bought it. He went on to complete high school in St. Ignace and then on to Lake Superior State College in Sault Ste. Marie. It was while in college that he developed a powerful, faith-filled insight that Jesus was his brother. and that he was calling him to serve the poor and the marginalized in Michigan and around the world. At the age of 20, Jim joined the Society of Jesus and became a Jesuit brother. 2 years in the Jesuit novitiate in the beautiful city of Berkeley, Michigan, was followed by theological study at Loyola University in New Orleans. His first stint at missionary work was in the shadow of the Himalayas in northern India, where he developed a bent for the poor. But soon the Jesuits reassigned him to teach religious studies. He taught at St. Ignatius High School in Cleveland and later the University of Detroit Jesuit, of course, in Detroit. Between both of these schools, Jim had a powerful influence on the development of a couple of decades of young men. He used his summer breaks to teach migrant workers in St. Anne's Parish on Mackinac Island. In 2002, he spent a year in prison ministry in Mexico. He was not in prison, it was prison ministry. And he taught these kids the fundamentals of carpentry. Again, the Jesuit superiors recalled him to become the vocations director for the Midwestern United States. In 2009, he was transferred to Haiti, where he worked as a school principal. And I think you will recall the catastrophic earthquake that occurred in Haiti within a year of his arrival. That earthquake accounted for 175,000 lives lost. According to news media accounts, Brother Boynton was one of the leaders of the rescue and salvage effort. Next, he returned to the University of Detroit Jesuit as campus minister and religious teacher, where his practical and applied faith was an inspiration to his students. He challenged every student to be a man for others, just as he was himself. As for the old violin that he purchased at the estate sale, Jim taught himself to play it. Then he learned to master the tin whistle, the guitar, and the mandolin. While doing all this, he picked up a master's degree at Boston College in history. By the way, his most significant publication and worthy of review is The History of the Jesuits on Mackinac Island. If music is the language of the soul, Brother Boynton blends it nicely with the empowering approach to his Catholic faith. He modeled the compassion of Jesus to lift up those who are bowed down, and he invited untold numbers of young men to roll up their sleeves and become men for others. This humble Jesuit from St. Ignace is a worthy recipient of the Michigan Irish Hall of Fame in the category of religion, and it is my honor to place his name in nomination and ask Kevin to come forward and bestow the insignia that identifies him as a Hall of Famer. Garamila Mahago.
Thank you very much. I first of all would like to thank the committee and the Hall of Fame. It's quite an honor. Thank you. I would like to thank very much my family, my sisters here, my cousins here. He's from the Chippewa side of the family, but that's good too. I'm as much Chippewa as I am Irish, which is pretty cool. I would like to thank the parents of my former students, and I'm on stage with two of them. I taught Phil's kid and I taught Mick's kid, and it's quite an honor to be entrusted to someone's child. So I thank you for that. It's an honor, and I'd like to thank my former students. At least one's here. Sean is there. There's probably the others are over in the beer tent. For much of my life, I've done a number of things. I've taught, as Phil said, I've taught geography, I've taught history, I've taught theology. So I'm going to give you a quick geography lesson, history lesson, and theology lesson very briefly. Here's your geography lesson. There are 3 islands that matter in the world: Ireland, Mackinac Island, and Beaver Island. I've made... Joe Menard's a wonderful man. I love him dearly. I've made music with him there. But on all 3 of those places, I've made tremendous music. And the person that I've made much of that music with, and mostly, is Danny, sitting right there. So Danny Gillespie is about as Irish as you get. Now, for the history lesson and the theology lesson, there are historical characters and there are saints that are known to the world, but I hope each of us have a historical character or a saint that is very important to you personally. And the reason that I'm able to get this award today is because a personal historical character and saint in my life, my grandmother, Mercedes McDermott, she came to St. Agnes in 1928, and the rest is history. She lived down the street from me, and when I would go there, we always went there. First of all, I had my own pair of pajamas there. My sister had pajamas there. We were so welcome at her house. She made us welcome. We were totally accepted, and we absolutely 100% knew that we were loved. I knew I was loved when I went to my grandmother's house. So here's your lesson. History. If you're an American, religion, if you're a member of a church, I hope you have a personal historical character that is important, and I hope that you have a personal saint. And I hope they have lots of characteristics, but I hope they also have the same characteristics of my grandmother, to let you know that you're welcome, and to let you know that you're loved, and that you're accepted exactly as you are. Thank you very much.